Now, point 2 on the second best practice for this particular video deals with both objectivity and integrity, and that's grading for timeliness. Now, this element is really almost the most simplest part of grading, so I'm going to spend hopefully about 42 seconds on it, because it's the most objective part of grading. If a post is due by the 4th day and it's submitted on the 5th day, it's late. And our rubrics and our calendars show us when assignments are due. So the points are assessed per the rubric, and you can safely move on to the next part of grading. As a faculty member, you do not have to worry about a student complaining about being assessed for a late penalty and someone in administration overruling you. The student can complain and send anything to you, from something that would be more appropriate for a creative writing fiction class in terms of why they were late, to a scathing email that would admittedly get some people fired if they sent it in on the work job. But end of the day, the rubric tells us when things have to be done. So if you get something more like the creative literary prose version, like you might see here, you could acknowledge its contents and respond back to the student that you understand these are particular issues going on in their life, and you apologize and you sympathize for all this going on. And then just simply refer to the Indiana Wesleyan policy that, as published and stated in the syllabus, that due dates are set, and particularly for discussions, there simply is no response for something that can come in late, and you must grade according to the rubric. In terms of discussions, nothing can be turned in after the end of the workshop, and that's something that the university holds to very, very tightly. In terms of papers, that's another part of the training. There are commentary and narratives and directions in the syllabus to help us with paper grading and late papers. You know, it's not uncommon that you'll get students that say this. I'm going to inject a personal little story here that happened to me a couple of years ago. And I'll change the name of the innocent. And let's say his first name was King. King sent me an email on about the 4th day of a class I was teaching, saying he was happy to be in the class, and he was in this new job, coaching a particular sport at a particular school, and that he just was going to be pretty busy this time of year, and some of his assignments might be late. Was that okay? Well, I actually Googled up the school and Googled up the sport and Googled up him, and realized that this particular time of year was really not a busy time for that sport. And nothing in smaller schools, but it really was not going to be a full-time job because it wasn't a D1 school where we know the coach, that's all they do. So I wrote back and said, hey, great to hear from you, appreciate your concerns. By the way, the rubrics spell out the due dates, and I graded the rubrics, and it says due date, first discussion due day 3 or day 4, whichever was in that course, and of course no late work, can submit after workshops, and follow the rubrics for the papers. Well, he decided to drop the class about 4 or 5 days later when he realized that when he saw the first grades that, gee, I did actually grade things late according to the rubric. So he dropped the class. Well, about 4 or 5 months later, I'm teaching the same course, and guess who pops in my course but King? That's good to see King again. Would you believe about the 4th or 5th day, I get almost exactly the same email again with the same excuse, with the same reasons that he was going to be late on his assignments. So I wrote back to him, wow, King, it's good to see you again. Hope that coaching job's going well. Yes, I still grade the rubrics and the same policies still apply. Look forward to working with you. And believe it or not, he turned his work in on time. So we will get students who push us to bend the rules because they simply want to bend the rules. We just have to, as a team, play by the rules and grade according to the rubrics. Now, I can't say that there's a situation where the administration would never allow late discussion posts. However, I can say I've never seen it, and I've turned in some pretty important excuses, including funerals and hospital visitations. In fact, when a student asks me now, can I turn them in late, I just flat out tell them no, because even up to funerals and hospitalizations, there's just simply no late discussion posts allowed. So we can refer that back and be safely centered and know that even as a Christ-focused institution where we focus on grace and compassion, we also focus on accountability. So we need to support each other on the team and grade our discussions late or not accept as late discussions as the rubric and the syllabus states. As a side note, some rubrics do not specify the maximum points for when a discussion post is submitted late, the initial discussion post. Again, the reply posts have to all be in by the end of the workshop. But I have seen some rubrics where there's not a particular point adjustment for first discussions being after what's stated in the assignment. So the assignment may say post by day 4, but there's nothing in the rubric for how much of an adjustment that is. That causes a little bit of problem. So you need to make sure you're consistent in that. And what I do is I draw from other rubrics, and most other rubrics, it's 1 point per day. So if a discussion comes in on day 4 and it's supposed to be due on day 3, that's a 1 point overall adjustment for the discussion. If it comes in on day 5 and it's supposed to be day 3, that's a 2-point discussion adjustment. So at least be consistent. That's part of our grading stool. And it might be something, if it's not mentioned in the rubrics, you could even put a quick little post in your course forums at the beginning of the workshop telling how you're going to handle initial discussions that come in late.